Hey, my friends, it's Andy coming to you live from Orange County, California. I am so happy to be with you. My hair got all jacked up, so I decided to wear a hat for my Facebook Live. Hey, you know what? There's going to be a little bit, and I'm going to. Nobody's watching right now, but when people sign on, they're going to be maybe a little. They're going to think that this is my devotional show that I do during the day, because I'm going to be talking about a little bit about church today, about my pastor. I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about the my utmost for his highest. But it's not. This is the Andy Falco Show, talking about political subjects and current event subjects, and trying to alert you to the problems that are occurring in our country at this time, and actually in this case across our world, because it is going to be it's kind of like the message we got from church. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show some of the message from Jack Hibbs today from our church, because it's that important, that it's not a happy message. When you are trying to do good, when you are trying to be a new person in Christ, you're going to be attacked by the devil, right? You're going to be attacked by, just yourself, right? Either it is your past or your will, your flesh is always going to be attacking you. And again, if you're not, don't get scared. Stick around. If you're atheist, if you are agnostic, if you are of another faith, stick around, because this really, you gotta try to get through any of the religious talk that I'm going to be going through, because you have to understand what's happening in our world. What's happening in our world, it has a lot to do what happens to us from time to time as we try to get there's people, I get trouble sometimes when I talk about certain things. People apply it to me. I'm not a gambler, but yet I will talk about people that have a gambling addiction. I don't have a gambling addiction, but when you have a gambling addiction, that will come up every so often. You will be challenged by either an ad on Facebook, or because it detects algorithms, it detects what it is that you like and what you kind of follow, and even if it's in the past an ad possibly. Again, I'm not what do you call it? There's a name for it. A gambleaholic. What do you call it? There's a name for it. I can't think what it is. But if you have looked up, stats for horse racing, like that, you're going to get ads for horse racing. So that thing will continually attack you as you're trying to move away from that thing, right? Whatever that is, right? I'm only bringing this up because, again, sometimes I bring it up and go, Andy, I didn't know you had a gambling problem. I don't. If whatever other issues you have, those things will come and attack you, and they're gonna try to pull you in, right? Friends will attack you and say, remember when we had such a good time, and then they'll try to drag you back into that horrible person you used to be, and you're going, hey, I'm not that horrible person anymore. And those things that's happening in our world, to the United States of America, right? We hear it all the time. We want reparations for back in the days when we had slavery in the United States. You need to pay for what happened in our country 200 years ago or 150 years ago or whatever it is. People are going to want to continually attack you and blame you for something that you had nothing to do with. And so this is kind of what's happening today in this world, is that they're trying to use this pressure of capitalism to faith and religion, that these are the things that have caused other people to be poor, to other people to be homeless and all this kind of stuff. And you want this equity, and it's always going to be constantly coming back that we're going to be the blame. Republicans, capitalists, Christians, whatever it is, or they need to pay for the problems of our country, the problems of the world, the problems of pollution, the problems of all kinds of stuff. And we're going, huh? If you were to look at, and again, let me just talk about the United States of America, and I've said this often, the United States of America, out of all the countries on the planet, is one of the most giving countries, the most kind country. When we've even gone to war with other countries and won those wars, the ones that we've won, we've not only have we not taken over that country, we have rebuilt the country for the citizens so they can continue to live in the country of X, Y, or Z, right? Of Germany, of Afghanistan, Iraq. We've done our best to continue to now the roads we blew up. Now let's repave those roads and make them nice. Right? It's not that we went to war with certain countries and then took over, or else the United States of America would be across Europe, in Russia, in parts of Asia. Now, not Vietnam, because that was a whole mess, but other countries, right? We'd have taken over other countries that we have won conflicts with and against. And it wouldn't be hard for us to take over some of the smaller countries and take over some of those countries. And we've done this in all of our years, but somehow we're still looked at and we're still called by even our own citizens. The Democrats constantly call America racist. They call us that we're one of the most horrible countries in the world, that we need to pay for slavery. We need to pay for all this stuff that happened years ago. Now, what you need to understand about our history is that we've always worked towards abolition since the time our country was created, always worked towards abolition. And so out of all of the countries that have had slavery, we've worked towards abolition, and eventually we got rid of slavery. But you still see slavery in China, but you see Democrats loving China. You see the NBA loving China. You see the news media loving China. But China's the country that has slavery, that are executing hundreds, if not thousands, of people a year, and yet they love China, but America is horrible. It is a very strange place that we're in right now. And so I want to talk about this great reset that has suddenly come across our airwaves. And they're not hiding it, right? They're saying it's time for a reset. It's time to bring Joe Biden, this mindless human who has dementia. It's time to bring him in because he's going to do it. How is a man with dementia going to change the country and change our world? How is that going to happen? Explain that to me. What they're going to bring him in, and in a couple of months they're going to take him out and have Kamala Harris, who shouldn't be running McDonald's, now do that. Now she's the one who's gonna rebuild America and make America much better. Really explain that to me and how that's going to happen. That's going to be very bizarre. It's a very bizarre concept. But what I want to do is I'm going to bring on, it's actually about 4 or 5 minutes. And now I know I've said this the last couple of times that I played these videos that I'm saying that, I'm going to play a long strip of a video. This is from today's message from my pastor from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. He is fantastic. He's not afraid to tell the truth. As a matter of fact, he's not afraid to talk about parts of the Bible that other churches won't talk about, because they're afraid if they talk about revelations, if they talk about a number of subject matter, I forget what he says, somewhere in the 30% of the Bible or somewhere in that area, maybe more, that most churches won't talk about because they're afraid people will leave. They're afraid it's going to upset people. They're afraid the pastors and the elders at certain churches don't talk about that because then people won't come to church and give us money. Don't talk about that because nobody will come to Christ if we talk about those things. He's going, okay, we don't want you, right? We're going to talk about these things. They're probably going to hurt your feelings and they're probably going to make you feel uncomfortable, but maybe this isn't the place for you. Maybe you need to go to another church because we're going to talk about those things that make you feel uncomfortable. And so I'm going to play a little. You're going to go, is this really a church? Wait a minute. Are you showing us a message from a church or a lecture from some conservative? It's both. It's a message from a conservative and it's a message from our church. Before I do that, I want to make sure you bookmark the U.S. Patriot Project. We are moving forward. We are doing a whole bunch of stuff on the U.S. Patriot Project. We need your help. We need some financial assistance as we get through paying, for a bunch of stuff we've been having done right now, as we begin to build the infrastructure to do exactly what I'm telling you about right now. And that is to talk to you about the truth of the things that are happening in our country, the things that are happening across our world that you don't want to happen. Socialism, I'm telling you, you don't want to happen. The Great Reset, you don't want to happen as far as man taking care of the Great Reset. You don't want to lose the ability to use cash in our country. You don't want to lose the borders of our country. Listen, I know it all sounds good in a song. It sounds all good on paper. It sounds all good when people, wouldn't it be great if we were just one world? No, it would not be great. As a matter of fact, it would not be great. And we're going to share a little bit of why. And then what I'm going to do is suggest you watch the rest of the entire message today at church. Was amazing. It's not a feel-good message. At the end of today's message at our church, it's not one you're going to go, oh, I feel so good about life and about our world. It's like, oh, really? But it is going to make you think about what's happening. All right. So I'm going to share a very long, probably about 5 or 6 minutes of today's message. It's important. that you watch at least that 5, but then go and watch the hour of the entire message. Let me first look at some of the people. So go to the USPatriotProject.com and help us out the best that you can. It doesn't matter if it's $1, $5, whatever it is. We'll, anything, it helps us in pushing forward the conservative Christian message. And we would love to have your help. Not true. Watching. I forgot. I already forgot what I said at the beginning. I truly believe that we are pretty darn close to our president pulling the trigger on the 2018. I pray that's going to happen. Hey, Amy, nice to see you. Love to have you. Nalani, nice to see you. I love that name, by the way. They are gunning for the new world. Yes, they are. Absolutely. That church and pastor, watch him every Sunday. Yeah, today's message was amazing. And again, we're going to play a little bit of that. And I was going to try to talk about it, but he does a much better job of talking about it. Then I'm going to bring up some other subjects as we go forward and talking about this stuff. But remember that this isn't, this, you can see today's message was excellent as always. I listen, Pastor. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, he's amazing. It's almost it's the funniest thing. It's almost like, I loved going to see Tony Robbins, and I loved seeing some other great speakers in my past as I was, in business and marketing and internet marketing and all this kind of stuff and self-help and that kind of stuff. And, you get excited to go to those things, and you get excited to go to a hotel, and then you spend time with other people. I had that same feeling every Sunday. And so if you have not spent time with Jack Hibbs, if you don't have a mentor, a pastor that speaks to you and speaks the truth about the Bible and speaks about subjects in the Bible and passages and books in the Bible that other pastors won't speak to because they're afraid it's going to offend somebody, then you need to go to Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, either in person or listen to them online, because the messages are that special and that important that you need to be uncomfortable from time to time. And you need to understand that you need to wake up. Again, I talked about this too, about the silent majority no longer can be silent. The silent majority is what caused us to be in this problem to begin with. Allow the rest of the country to do some things, but remembering that the United States is an influence on the rest of the country. Whatever the United States does, many other countries do. Whatever the United States does, if they want us to be successful, they want us to be profitable. They love our capitalism, because our capitalism helps so many other countries. Without the United States of America, many countries would die. That is the truth. And then we have China, which is our biggest enemy, who, whatever reason, Democrats love. Democrats have taken the stupid pill. They're living in the stupid forest, and they're morons. And they've decided that we're going to elect this guy who has no brain, and his running mate who hates him and called him a racist, called him a sexual predator, but yet he makes him the vice president. And even worse, she accepts the vice presidency with a guy that she called a racist and called a sexual predator. And that is one of the craziest things that you can even imagine. You could even write a story. You would say, I wouldn't write the story because people it's not believable, right? You when you hear people writing scripts for movies, they go, you know what, this is a good script, except for, some subject matter is not really believable. We need to change it. If you wrote the scenario regarding our president elect and the vice president elect, so-called elect, somebody would say, no, that just really doesn't seem possible that a woman who thinks a guy is racist and a sexual predator, that she would accept a job from him. We just don't see that would nobody would believe that. And yet it happened. It happened. It happened that a lady who thinks a guy's a sexual predator and a racist, and she's supposedly of color, that she's a woman of color, accepted a job from a guy that she called a racist as a sexual predator. Only the Democrats that are dumb enough to do that and accept that. It is crazy. No kidding, Hannah. It is so. This is a wild time. I'm laughing only because you have to laugh, because it's so crazy. All right. So I'm going to get to a message, a part of the message today from my pastor. And it's important for you to watch and listen to. And you know what? I don't trust myself again. I'm going to go ahead and, gosh darn it. I know I clicked the button that I'm supposed to click, but just in case I didn't, I'm going to do it again. All right. I got to make sure so that you can hear the audio. And you'll see him come up here. All right. So listen, this is an important part of the message that I think you really, really need to hear. All right. So pay attention, and then we'll come back. And then I got some more things to share with you. All right. Those of you that are watching that are not Christian, that are not, biblical, that you are of some other faith, or agnostic or atheist, I'm telling you, stick stick in, stay, on the live. I know that the first thing you think, oh, it's a pastor talking. What he's talking about is important for you to know, regardless if you are, of any faith or that you believe in the Bible or believe in God. It's important to listen to what he has to say. All right. So let me go ahead and make it big and stand by.
Look up, because your redemption draws near. Now listen, Christ could come back theologically for us at any moment, but he hasn't yet. So what do we do? We pay close attention to what's going on. So church, look at the first slide. I want you to see this. Got a couple of slides for you. First slide is this regarding the Bible, speaking about a global reset. This is not the beautiful graphics of our design team. This is right from the World Economic Forum website. What are they calling it? Right now, today, I got this last night. The Great Reset. Let me read the paragraph to the right. There is an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of the COVID-19 crisis. This is the first time in recorded history, keep it on the screen, where the world has shut down for an advanced form of the flu. Listen, nobody did this for the Spanish flu. Nobody did this for Ebola. Why not? Ebola, listen, COVID looks like a picnic compared to Ebola. I don't see any of you bleeding out of your eyes or your ears or noses. Listen, I'm not saying COVID's not real. I'm saying something's up. Somebody's using it. England didn't even shut down for the cholera epidemic in 1864. Europe didn't shut down for the bubonic plague. Churches were the front line of first responders. Something's up. By the way, if COVID goes away, these guys will find something else. Why? To improve the state of the World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset Initiative. Next slide. This is Forbes magazine. Hitting the reset button to avoid a new Great Depression. Why is there a coming depression? How does a virus cause a depression? Any economists in here? How does that happen? Next slide. By the way, did you see the ball reset was hitting the earth? Into a black hole, by the way, mind you. The global economic reset, promoting a more inclusive recovery. Just the title causes me to... Okay, listen. The COVID-19 crisis is inflicting the most pain on those who are already most vulnerable. Don't answer. I'm just going to ask, why? I'll keep reading. This calamity could lead to a significant rise in income inequality. Why? And it could jeopardize development gains from educational attainment to poverty reduction. Why? New estimates suggest that up to 100 million people worldwide could be pushed into extreme poverty. Why? Erasing all gains made in poverty reduction in the last 3 years. Wow. Stop. Listen. I have to control myself right now. I am not kidding you. Ladies and gentlemen, the last sentence says, oh no, if we don't find a fix, it's going to erase all of the amazing gains that were made in poverty reduction over the last 3 years. The last 3 years, the country you're sitting in lifted up the nations of the world economically. That's what they're talking about. But you can't think that deep. You're not allowed to think like this. If you were in a college class, you should ask, what happened in the last 3 years that made such a tremendous decrease in global poverty? You're not allowed to ask that question. Backing up and looking at that. We could be pushed to extreme poverty. Of course. When you shut businesses down, you destroy economies. And when you destroy economies, you catapult poverty. This is truth and a lie right in front of our face. Next slide. Now, calm down. I know. No, listen. If you're a Catholic, I feel for you. The Catholics are in a justifiable rage right now because of this man. Pope Francis joins with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies to form a new council focused on creating a more equitable economy. And when you read it, everybody, no matter if you work an hour or if you work 23 hours a day, the same. You know what that's called? Socialism. And Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works fantastic until you run out of other people's money. Socialism. A culture of people reduced to begging bread, maybe some cheese, bread, vodka. Everybody's got it the same, except for the people who invent it. They live in absolute opulence, travel the world, and it's all on your back. Socialism's a great idea if everybody's perfect and have the nature of Jesus at all times.
Wow. First of all, thank you, Hannah, for letting me know that I had the echo going on. But did you hear all the stuff that he talked about? All the stuff that is true. Those are facts. Again, when you talk facts, when you talk about what's going on in this world, when you bring up these subject matters, what ends up happening is that you get throttled on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and all these other places. Why? Because they don't want you explaining how this is detrimental to you as an individual person. Again, I just talked about this earlier, is that we have enough stuff going on in our life, right? We got things in regard to our children not going to school and that kind of stuff, and then the relationship between the children. You got children with different illnesses. You got children that have colds. You got children that suffer with math and science and all this kind of stuff. And you're trying to balance all that. You're trying to also run a business. You're trying to be an employee and show up at work. Hey, I can't show up at work because now my kid who's doing online schooling, you got all this stuff going on. And so that virtually destroying you as an individual. Each one of us have relationships, whether it's a relationship with being single, or a relationship with, just starting a relationship. You got relationship, husband and wife. You got, I know very many people who are engaged, who have put on hold their weddings and their marriage. And so you have all this other stuff going on. So it's just not one thing. You know what I'm saying? So you have everything that's happening globally, everything that's happening in the United States. You can't travel anymore. You can't go anywhere. And then you have all the pressures going on. And what he was talking about, what is all of this doing? What is COVID-19 doing? When you shut down the economy, when you shut down schools, when you shut down churches, when you shut down all the things that people would normally do to kind of get a relief from everything else that's going on, going out to dinner, it's a struggle. A friend of mine, we're trying to go out to dinner the other day, and we're calling around, hey, do you have dinner? No, we don't have dinner. Do you have dinner? No, we don't have dinner. What do we got to do? We got to go ahead and shutter at home in a place where, it's just nice to get out. It's just nice to be around other people, hearing other people chatter. And now you can't do that either. And as this continues on, which they're hoping it will, if Joe Biden were to become president, it will continue on. He wants to shut down the economy again, but throughout the nationally, not just in areas that so-called need it, which we don't even think that's something that needs to happen, but he wants to do it globally. He wants also mask mandates nationally, not in areas that are not being highly affected by COVID-19. And they want to go deeper and go further. I'm going to share with you some other people that want to do more in just one second. But I want to talk about how COVID-19, again, what Pastor Jack said is true. It's not a hoax. It's not a lie, but people are getting sick from a number of other things that we've never shut. And in the past we've gotten sick from, and we've never shut down a country. We've never shut down businesses. We've never shut down schools or churches and all the things that are being shut down for things that were far more deadly. But yeah, we're doing that here. I've had COVID-19 and I'm here talking to you. And I'm completely healed. I completely can breathe. I've been able to run now with my children. And even though my other kids make fun of me as I'm running, say, "Oh, Dad, are you okay? You're old." But I almost won the race. And then you have Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani, he's 70-something years old, 75, 76 years old. I forget how old he is. He just had it. And he's already out doing his podcast again. You have the president who's somewhat 74, 75. I forget how old he is. He had it. He's already out running around. So they wanted you to believe, these Democrats, these idiots, these morons in our country that are running these states like California and Michigan and Oregon and Washington, who say that you cannot, those of you that are Christian, those of you that are conservative, those of you that have a message of hope, you have to stay home and shelter. But all of you who want to destroy our country, loot, who want to catch our cities on fire, who want to protest angrily, not peacefully, but angrily, you can do what you want. Oh, the marijuana stores, which are perfectly fine, I don't care, but those can be open, but churches have to be closed. That's the hypocrisy. Here in Los Angeles, all the strip clubs can be open, but the churches have to be closed. The big corporations like Costco and Target and the big companies, you can be open, but the mom and pop stores, you have to be closed. All you little restaurants, you have to be closed. And all your employees, they all have to suffer because of what? The global reset, and because of this bigger idea that they don't care, right? You hear the Democrats saying they care about blacks, they care about poor, they care about all the stuff, but they're so busy making you poor because they need more of you. Because if there's more of you, they'll have greater power, they'll have greater income, they'll have more money, and they'll begin to run the world. The high elites, they'll begin to run the world, and we need a much more substantial. Middle class, they don't like, right? They need space between being elite and being poor. They love that space, so they're going to create more poor. How do you know that they love people being poor? Because of this. I'm going to bring up another screen here just really quick. How do you know they love it? It's because they do things like this. Here is in Los Angeles, here in California, or no, it's California, sorry. Statewide universal basic income introduced into assembly. This was just December 8th, 2020. They want everybody to earn the same. And that essentially would be somewhere in the neighborhood of minimum wage. Right. Those people that are earning minimum wage and somehow are surviving, they go, oh, great. Now, everybody else, doctors, attorneys, they're all going to earn minimum wage. That's fantastic. Does that mean that we're all going to be able to afford the same thing? We're all going to be, no, that means we're all going to be able to not afford anything. It's going to put a greater distance between the elite, the people in leadership that have the people that own the Costco's and the Target and the Amazon and the Facebook and the Twitter. Those people will be way up here. No longer will we have a middle class, but now you have all these people down here, all the same, earning the same. I visited countries when this was happening, in the Slovak Republic, in Poland, in the Eastern Bloc European countries, and there were people that actually liked it. Right, you have the poor, the homeless, that they're actually getting an upgrade. They're going to make from zero to now whatever it is, $17 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever that is. So they're happy. And I remember being in a restroom, going to the restroom, and on the way to the restroom, there was this lady, and she was mad, right? I walked in, she could tell I was an American. I forget what I was wearing, but she knew I was wearing what I was wearing. Caused her to understand that I was American, and she started pointing at me and yelling at me and whatever it was, and I had to ask, the guy that I was with who lived in the Slovak Republic, what is she talking about? She goes, oh, she was pissed. She was pissed that you were here because she thinks it's your fault that we're no longer communist. And I go, what do you mean? Why would she be mad that your country's no longer are communist? Because now she has to work. and I feel bad, right? So she was here handing out paper towels and the rest. So now she's earning money at this restaurant. So now she's having to work. Now she's earning an income. It may not be great, but she's mad at me as an American because she thinks that it is our fault that now that she has to earn income. But then I was talking to him. She goes, but my dad, who's a doctor, he's earning the same as that woman. My dad, who is a gynecologist, he's a specialist, he's earning the same as the woman who's in the hallway yelling at me. Now she has to work. The taxi drivers earn the same thing. Everybody earns the same thing. Attorneys earn the same amount of money, or they did back when it was communism. But now, based on education, based on amount of work, based on a whole bunch of other stuff, there is now a capitalist economy, and now you have the few. Now, people say, well, so see how she was. But you see where here in the United States, where the churches, again, we're going to go to churches. Churches have been the most important solution to poverty. It shouldn't be our government. Churches and organizations that give, because why? Because the United States is one of the most giving countries on the planet. Always has been. They always have been. That's who you leave it up to build up, right? Give them opportunities, give them shelter. But it comes to churches. When you do it through government, it always fails. The government fails at everything. What is one of the worst run companies that's run by the government? The U.S. Postal Service. One of the worst run companies we know that, right? That has a long history of being a poorly run organization. And we can talk about a bunch of others. But you see the problem in this. And here we have in California, this idea. Oops, sorry about that. This idea that in California, everybody needs to earn the same, and they're introducing it. It's going to fail. Now, in the article, it talks about how it's failed all over the world and everything, but they still want to push it through and try to make it happen. And let's see, I think there was one. And I don't know where they got this quote, but this is from, they got this from the guy that they interviewed. Who's the, hold on. I'm trying to find the guy who introduced the bill. Assemblyman Evan Lowe, Democrat in Campbell, California, would specifically create a California universal basic income program that, with taxpayer funding, of course, would give an equal income to all Californians. Now, how would you taxpayer funding when you're losing all of your companies in California because of crap like this, when you're losing all of the major companies, Elon Musk has even moved out of California into Texas. You got major corporations that are moving out of California. Where are you going to get the taxpayer funding to run this kind of deal? Where is that going to happen? How is that going to happen? You are crazy. They are stupid. They've taken the stupid pill and living in the stupid forest. That is one of the craziest things that you can even, again, when you have other states that are going, hey, yeah, come here, Californians, come here, big businesses, come here. What's going to happen in California? It's going to virtually go away. It's going to be a poverty-filled country. The state of California is going to be a poverty-filled country because the economy formerly that we used to have in California was that of a country and one of the strongest countries on the planet. But now they're killing it. Democrats are killing it because why? Because they're stupid. They are morons. So now I'm going to go do one more thing really quick here. And I'm just going to tell you why they hate middle class and why they hate and why they love the poor, because of this right here. Let me just bring this up. One last thing. And that is what's happening in Los Angeles right at this second, right this minute. We have a DA who destroyed San Francisco, who is doing such things as taking away all misdemeanors, arrestable misdemeanors. If you arrest somebody, you can no longer arrest anybody for a misdemeanor, no longer seek cash bail for misdemeanors. So if you even get arrested for a misdemeanor, you don't have to cash bail. You just get out, right? There's no arrest. No cash bail means that a business like Target, which right now probably doesn't arrest shoplifters, because if they did, they're no longer going to, because what good does it do you? Right? If somebody comes in and steals $400 of merchandise from Target and gets caught, it does no good to call the police because the police are just going to let the person go. There's no punishment. There's no consequence to stealing $400, $500, and I think it's up to $600 of merchandise because there's no consequence to doing it. And that's why the company, it's not worth it because you have to pay security. You have to pay an attorney to process and go through the case and try to get some. Nothing's happening any longer. So these companies are just losing $400, $600 a day, probably 20 or 30 times a day to people that nothing's going to happen to them. And so Do you see the problem here? The people are no longer being arrested. He's taken away the death penalty. He's not going to consider that. He's no longer going to consider juveniles who commit things like murder as adults and try to try them as adults. So if you're 17 and a half and you commit murder, you're 17. It's okay that you committed murder. You just go ahead because you're so close to being 18. We're no longer going to do that. Let's see what else is going on here. Hold on. I'm on the wrong one. I'm on the wrong article. I never would have found what I was looking for. Kids will not be transferred to adult court. He announced his office will not seek enhancements of any kind. The gang enhancement, no more gang enhancements. If you're in the gang and you're selling drugs or you kill somebody or you shoot somebody, no longer. And the 3 strikes, a retroactive policy triggering the review of more than 20,000 cases, according to Gascon, is no longer going to be looked at. No, there's no more 3 strikes. So you have a guy who's committed rape 3 times. It's just like he committed the first time. Well, you know what? Because this is one of the things that we had as I had as a detective in sex crimes or family crimes, is that you had the power of the 3rd strike. It was successful. It was powerful. I'm telling you that a lot of guys who, and again, you don't want it to get to the second time, but after the second time of being arrested for rape, for domestic violence, for even shoplifting, for burglary, for auto theft, for assault. After the second time, they really start to consider whether they're going to do it the 3rd time. I'm telling you, it was a powerful thing that people would go, you know what? I'm going to go back to prison for life for doing something stupid, and maybe I'm not going to do it. So you have this DA who's now saying, it's okay. Do it once, twice, 3 times, 3 times a lady. No big deal. Who cares? Who cares if you've shot somebody 3 times? They didn't die, so not that big of a deal. You're going to get the same punishment as if you did it the first time, which could be probation. Let's give a guy probation who's shot at somebody 3 times and tried to kill them. Let's give a guy probation that's raped a woman 3 times. It's okay. We'll just give you probation because we're just going to look at it as your first time. Who cares that you're a serial rapist and you've done it 3 times, 4 times, 5? There's no more enhancement. It's not that big of a deal. You people have lost your mind. Democrats are literally the enemy of our country. They're the enemy of our cities. They're the enemy of our states. They are destroying us. And when you look at everything as a whole, the Great Reset and the support of DAs like this who are literally supporting the criminal factions in our society. And now you want to pay. They're literally going to get paid for being criminals because you're going to give them free money. That's what this means when they begin to tell you that they're going to give you, everybody gets paid equally, no matter what they do. Statewide, universal, everybody just gets paid. So they're going to be paying criminals now because there's going to be no consequence to misdemeanors. Go out there and steal, and plus you're going to get paid by the state. Right? You almost got to literally laugh at this crap because it's so stupid. Yeah, capitalism is bad. Conservatives are racist. Conservatives are horrible, nasty people. We need to pay blacks across the country because of something that happened 200 years ago. And yet they love China. China, who kills Uyghurs on a daily basis, who has killed thousands of people annually because of who they are, because of where they are in their society. The what they look at is the less than. They can also control how many kids you have. They can also control what sex you have and who they abort. They tell you who to abort. The country does. But yet, I'm going to go through this. NBA, professional sports, loves China. The media loves China. Hollywood loves China. Democrats love China. Joe Biden loves China. Joe Biden and his son got paid millions of dollars from China. The China's okay, but somehow the United States of America, one of the most least racist countries on the planet, one of the most giving countries on the planet, we're the racist and we're the horrible country. It's racist to say America first. It's bad to say America first, but yet they love countries like China. We've really lost our mind. Let's look at some of these comments here. So sorry. Oh, I got on a rampage there. I thought this was going to be short. For a long time now, the Democratic agenda has been to set up our economy in such a way that Americans would have to depend on the government. Absolutely. That is for sure. That is a fact, April. You are right on it right there. The Democratic Party may as well be called the enabler party. I like that. Look at the failure of welfare. The bums never want to go back to work. Carl knows, working at another police department there in California. We know this. We work with the homeless. They laugh. They laugh that people bring them food. They laugh that people bring them money. They laugh that they get these EBT cards and whatever it else. They laugh. They go, why would I work? I don't have to work. And they go, I don't want to go to a motel or hotel and sleep. Why would I do that? The large number of homeless laugh at the government. They laugh at churches that come bring them food. They laugh at people that come give them money and go, why would I work? I don't have to work. I can live perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, in San Francisco, they got free alcohol. They got free drug paraphernalia. And I think in some cases, they got some free drugs. Why would they work? They don't need to. They don't want to. They don't want to work. They were given free motels. And they weren't taking up on the free motels. The few people that took it said, hey, we're not leaving. And now they couldn't kick people out of the motels and hotels. The hotels are going, wait a minute. No, we can't get rid of these people. And the government, well, that'd be bad. That'd be racist. That would be, that's horrible that you want to kick out a homeless person out of your hotel. It's my hotel. Why can't I kick somebody out? Oh, it's some of the crazy. And Carl is absolutely right. It is absolutely, and I've dealt with them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to come back to your comment, Amy, one second. I remember going out with the church, and I didn't want to, but the ex wanted to go out and give food to the homeless in Santa Ana. They had taken over the Santa Ana communities area where the courts are, the main area in Santa Ana. Hundreds and hundreds of homeless, just complete. You had to walk around the homeless to get to the courtroom. When we were getting a divorce, prior to us getting divorced, I remember, going there with the church, and then later on I had to walk around these people that I fed, through the church just a couple of days. I hated it, as a matter of fact, but I just thought I got to do this because my wife wants to go there and feed these people. But I remember giving them a sandwich, and they look at the sandwich and go, why would I eat this? I got this yesterday. And they would hand it back, or they would throw it down. Like they got so much food that they would throw down a sandwich and say, "No, I got one of those yesterday. I don't want that today. Do you have anything else?" What? It was, and the church. Oh, it's okay. Does anybody have a turkey? Because he had a peanut butter yesterday. What? Eat the freaking peanut butter. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Because most homeless people want to be homeless. That's what you don't understand. I get arguments with people all the time. And I go, why are you giving them money? Give them the want ads. Give them a coupon for 50% off. Give them something else. Give them a something that they have to go directly and go. They don't want that. They don't want to have to work at anything. They're homeless because they're lazy. Most people are homeless because they're lazy. Some are alcoholics, some are drug users, and some are crazy. What we have are programs for the crazy. We have programs for the people that have injuries that don't allow them to work. There's programs for that. But we don't need to help the majority. And I'm telling you, because Carl and I know from working on the streets, the majority are lazy and they don't want to work. They love being homeless. And I'm telling you, I've talked to them, hundreds of them in my career, 21 years in the police department. They are lazy. I despise lazy probably because of them. All right. Sorry, Amy. I skipped your thing. Target allows shoplifting, but don't try and going there without. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Amy, that is brilliant. You are so right. They allow Target allows shoplifting. Go there and steal whatever you want. We're not going to arrest you. We're not going to prosecute you. We're not going to waste our time on you, but don't come in without a mask. You come in with a mask, you'll be arrested. That is brilliant. Thank you, Amy. And you are right. That is not a lie. They know exactly what's going. They know exactly what it's going to do. They'll destroy everyone's lives and kill everybody off. China's plan is to kill the American people. Absolutely. They love the fact that Americans love China. They are so happy right now. They are so happy with what's going on here in the United States. They want obedient people. You are so right. Here's my burning side note question. When did Bill Gates become the expert on science? I don't know. Once he had, $100 billion, maybe. I think that's when it happened. Global economics, politics, general healthcare, and epidemiology. Who knows? Who knows? Absolutely. Hey, Deborah, nice to see you. Whew. So, yeah, this is whacked. We are just in such trouble right now. And we are challenged every day. Where's your mask, dude? Yeah. I don't know. Don't care. Went to church today with 3,000 people. No mask. I think maybe one person wore a mask. Don't care. I don't care. I've had COVID-19. And again, you're looking at somebody that's have it. And I think that's great. This is crazy. This is all, we don't do it for anything else. Again, Rudy Giuliani, 60-something years old, gets COVID. He's back on his podcast 3 days later. You got the president 4 days later, whatever it was. He came back and went back to work, went back to traveling, right? Doing his whole thing. This is really a crazy time. We have enough things going on, right? We have enough things battling ourselves, battling our old self as we're trying to improve ourselves. We have battles in our relationships and trying to get through those. That's bad enough, right? The old self sometimes comes back, and now we have to deal with that and try to fix things that are going on. And then we can't go out. Then we can't go out and eat dinner. We can't go to the movies. We can't go watch a hockey game. We can't go shopping. And then we have to, if we do, we have to wear a mask, but we can only wear a mask. We can only go shopping at the big places that are making millions of dollars, but we can't go and help, Sandra, who owns a 500 square foot shop, and she's struggling. We can't go there. We can't go help her out. We can't go to the gym at, Jim and Nancy's gym down the street. And they've been keeping 10 people employed for 10 years now, right? The people that have families, people that have, mortgages to pay, they have, medicines that they're paying for. But they have to close down. But Costco can stay open. Target can stay open. Walmart can stay open. The pot store down the street can stay open, but not the little the gym down the street, not the little store down the street. None of those places, none of the restaurants around here that are owned by some of the individuals, they can't stay open. And all the employees, the waiters and waitresses and the bellhops or whatever you call those people, not bellhops. What do they call it? The people that pick up the dishes? Those people. they can't stay employed. And then you had Nancy Pelosi blocking the stimulus payment, blocking the PPP payments for the last 5-6 months, however long, 7 months, however long it's been. She's blocking it because she thinks that illegal aliens should get money out of the stimulus payment. Illegal people should come here from other countries and get money from the United States of America. She thinks that's what's more important. That's more important than the people that live here in the United States. They don't need money, right? The PPP helping businesses so they can try to stay open and make payroll, not even stay open. They can make payroll because you've shut them down. The country shut them down, right? People being paid like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy's getting a paycheck, right? She's able to stay in her mansion. Right? She's getting paid. All the other people are being paid, and they're making decisions about people that aren't getting paid not to pay them. So companies that are struggling to make payroll, that are having to close, they can't pay. Those people don't deserve any money to stay open. And then I know I'm going down a little sidetrack here, but it is you got to watch the message. Let me see if I can. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is the third service. And again, proof is that they have 3 services on 3,000 people, anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 people attend our church every Sunday since May. They've not shut down since May. They were shut down for that 14-day or whatever period of time. And then he goes, this is crazy. We're opening up. And he's been up. And now for several months now, every Sunday, 2,000 to 3,000 people on 3 services a day, so that's almost 9,000 people, go and attend church and sing, regardless of the idiot Gavin Newsom, and everybody's fine. I didn't get COVID-19 from the church, by the way. I hadn't been to church in 2 weeks when I got COVID-19. Wearing a mask probably somewhere, because we all know that masks don't work. Every scientific study that's been done has said prior to COVID-19 that masks don't work when trying to protect somebody from a virus. They don't work. Every scientific study that has been done says that it doesn't work against the small molecule, whatever you want to call it, the virus. It doesn't work against the virus. Any virus, a virus, it doesn't work. All right. You have to do all the other stuff. And when you're in surgery or when you're in contact as a medical professional, if it's that type of thing, I remember my son had something, they didn't know what it was. And they put plastic around the door, and you had to be all gowned up all the way from head to toe in a suit that was completely sealed. And they didn't know what he had. He had some skin thing going on. And that's what they used to come in. Why? Because that's what keeps the virus. That's what we would have to be walking around. These little masks that I don't have. Do I have one in my pocket? I might have one. Let me see if I have one in my pocket. No, I don't have one. The little masks that we wear that you've been wearing now for 2 months straight and not washing them, that's supposed to protect you from a virus. Get out of here. You're crazy. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave it at that because you really need to watch the entire message today from my church. You will love it. If you've never watched the message from Jack Hibbs, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, you're going to want to watch this one. You're not going to be happy when you end. It's not going to be one of those, oh, I feel so happy after church today. I feel so good and feel so loved. No, that's not. I was in the front row and I always wanted to say, Jack, okay, can you give us some good news? Is there anything, out of this? And he just he ended and they played music and I go, I was waiting for the good news. There isn't. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to warn you, there's no good news from the message. So watch it if you haven't watched it already. Am I ready? Oh, am I ready for Christmas? This is going to be the best Christmas ever. I think. I'm hoping it's going to be the best Christmas ever. But so far it has been great. It's been good. It's been got a tree. I haven't had a tree in years, which is great and has lights on it. And now we just put some candy canes on there. I'm cooking a dinner for all the kids. All my kids are here, so I'm going to be cooking tacos today. And we're having a good time of making my specialty tacos, carnitas tacos. We were going to have beans, but those got dropped on the driveway. They slipped out of one of the kids' hands. It's cool. What are you going to do? So I didn't wash the beans off. Oh, shoot. Hopefully a cat will come by and eat the beans. And the cat will be okay with it. It won't blow up. But so far it's been a really good one. You never know what can happen, but there's been, one of the things, and I started with this, I'm just going to end on it one more time. And that is that the better things are, the greater the attack. So I want you to understand that you don't give up, right? As conservative Christians, even when I wasn't Christian, I think I've always been a conservative. But when you add the component of Christian, the one thing is that we don't live in fear, right? And we don't live in fear, thinking that behind, fearing that when we go around the corner that we die, that we always know that the next place is heaven, right? And so that's the positive. But as a conservative, as a police officer, we always ran towards danger and that kind of stuff. So you have that. But understand that the better things are, the greater the attack, the stronger the attack, the more you'll be attacked, the more that maybe some things in your past will be brought up, or that a person that has been in the darkness for a while will suddenly appear and be more prevalent. You go, what the hell? Why now? Why now are you now causing me grief? And that's going to happen. The happier you are, the greater the difficulty, the greater the attack, because and I would say this on my show much more freely, but because I know that I have a different audience in the evening, I'm just going to come out and say it anyway. But the devil, the demon, the evil one, they don't. It does not want you to be happy. So just especially when it's pure, if it's as pure as possible, right? As you are beginning to change your life to be a better person, even, and you're now happier because of that also will increase the attack. So know that ahead of time, but always know that if you're a conservative Christian, that you have God and you have His Word and you have the Bible and you have the truth that's written. Oh, there was another thing I'll play out. Let me find this thing really quick. I'm so sorry. Where's my notes? I'm going to play this one last thing, and I was going to end on it. I almost forgot. Hold on. Those of you that stuck around, you're going to want to watch this little bit here. Let me get here. But know that there's something you can always go to, which is always going to give you facts and truth, and it's always held true, and that is the Bible. And then you surround yourself with like-minded people in that area, and as conservative, you surround yourself as much as possible to that extent. That's always going to be Sorry, it's hard to talk and do this at the same time, but I'm going to bring it up. That all the thing, what was it? The 3 C's. I'm going to have to look up my 3 C's again and bring that up. That those are things that you're going to have to always remember to do, because you are going to be challenged. And then you're going to be like, oh, you're going to be angry. You're going to be mad. You're going to be frustrated for a moment, but understand that but you got to think, like, wow, that's because things have been really good. This is because I've been in God's word. This is because I've been following my devotional. This is because of all these things. And don't let it take you off track, because they will. The people, the demon, the people that don't like that you're happy, because you're going to have friends that don't like that you're happy. You're going to have family members that don't like you're happy. You're going to have the enemies in your life. And then you're going to have the devil. You have a whole bunch of people and things and the devil and the demons that are around you that are always going to do that. But the thing is, you got to always come back. You got to bounce back. You can let it kind of like take you off track for a little while, but then come back and say, you know what? That's why. Because things have been so good, because I've been in God's word, because I love God and God's been speaking through me and the Holy Spirit's been speaking through me. And when you get back to that and you get back into the message, then you'll power through anything. They're going to continue, but at some point you'll break through. And in the end, you have what's in the end, right? We have what's in the end. You will survive in the end when it's time for you to go home, which is going to be heaven. If you fight through all of this madness, when we fight through all this madness, in the end, there's always going to be heaven and Jesus Christ that we're going to be standing with and sitting with, and talking with people that are the people that we hope that we were going to talk to, the other like-minded people that follow Jesus Christ and God. All right, my friends. So I hope that ended well. But let me just play this last part. This is one thing, the reason why you need to follow the Bible. And again, I know this isn't the normal devotional one I do during the day. And I know that some of you may come on here and you may be agnostic, you may be atheist and watch it through. But I want you, if you want to, I would love for you to watch this little part about the Bible and about what Jack has to say about the Bible, because I think it's important. And I wanted to end with this because I think it's important for you to take this away. All right, so let me go ahead and bring it up here. And it's not as long as the first one. I think it's only about 2 minutes or so, maybe 3 minutes. So I will bring it up here. All right. And I'll remember to mute my mic this time. Hold on. Let me do that first. All right. I'm going to come back and say goodbye. So when it ends, I'll be back for just a second. All right.
Selling cars, and you say that this is the only car worth buying. That's what you're supposed to say if you're selling cars. God's not selling anything. His word stands true if you believe in it or not. But God has given us his word. And remember, if you don't know, learn it. And that is, God says concerning his word, you ought to pick it up and know it. Put me to the test. See if what I've said is true. And there's only one way to find that out. And that is the study of the prophetic doctrines of the Bible. What has God said about Israel? What has God said about the nations of the earth? What has God said about, by the way, what does God say prophetically about racism? It's in the Bible. What does God say about economies regarding prophecy? In the Bible. And what about the end of the world? It's all in the Bible. In fact, the Bible says of itself, again, the Bible says of itself, 2 Timothy 3:16, all scripture is given by inspiration of God. Think of that. God breathed, God gave it. And you see, it's actually God making the point. Here's the Bible talking about the Bible. 66 books, 40 different authors, 1,600-year time frame, time span, different continents. Most of them never met one another. And yet it's in perfect harmony. From Genesis to Revelation, there is, I'll give you only have one guess. There's one personality that is exalted and revealed through the entire Bible. Genesis to Revelation, you got one guess. What's his name? Jesus. Jesus.
It's great. Watch the message from today. It's too bad because that's at the beginning of his message. I would have to call. I don't have Jack's phone number, but I was going to say, I would call Jack and say, if you just would have put that at the end, that would have been the ending that I was looking for. Because again, if you're looking for an uplifting, happy message, today's not the message, but you have to watch it. You cannot miss today's message. What you can do is go to skip 40. What is it? Timestamp 4308 to 4450, which I just showed you, and then play it at the end. Because when we need the positive is that the Bible is is the truth. The Bible is God speaking, and it is so stinking important to keep that in mind. And that would be the positive that I would take away from today's message, although it's at the beginning. So, and this message, he starts with a positive beginning, but ends like, oh, was there? The music maybe was the positive. All right, my friends, I love you guys. I got to get busy making the tacos. All the kids are here. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to enjoy the tacos. They claim that my tacos are the best on the planet. So we're going to be making some carnitas and some chicken tacos, and there you go. All right, my friends, Courtney just arrived, and that's my oldest daughter. And so we'll be hanging out and having a good time and probably watching a movie or something like that. All right, my friends, I love you guys very much. Take care, and I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye. God bless.